What situation is a good test of someone's character? Give them power of any sort. Makes you see someone's true colors. Rejection. When the person is at the top or rock bottom is here. For some people it's the first. For others it's the other. Grandstanding opportunity. Do they jump to say something that makes their self look like a good person after someone else says something more humble or self-depreciating? And notice their tone as they do it. Put them in a situation where they can screw someone over, but for a substantial personal benefit. I don't like the idea of testing people's character so much as observing how they treat their friends versus how their friends treat them. Who is the first person who is reasonably able to offer to help if you get a flat tire or need a jump start or whatnot? How much they take in relation to what they give. And I'm not talking about tangible things like gifts or money, but things like time, compassion, etc. Things like that. The little things that count. What I call an anyday crisis. Things like a flat tire, out of gas, appliance failure, power outage, etc. It might not seem like it, but how someone handles these situations says a lot about them. If someone stays calm, collected, doesn't panic, and solves the issue to their best ability, or is not afraid to ask for help in doing so, it demonstrates solid character, in my eyes. These answers are all just short interactions that basically just show how people act in that small episode. A man who is nice to waitstaff may be a slong everywhere else, so my answer is marriage. Food being laid out at a restaurant. Every butt I've ever gone to dinner with has thrown the biggest tantrum, while normal human beings understand that it isn't the server's fault and just deal with it. A custody battle. People will lie about everything from their work history to their parenting style. Many make false accusations of all kinds of things, and oftentimes those lies work or muddy the waters. At the very least, it takes an actually good person to stick to the truth. Try to think about the effects on their child, and not get sucked into following lies with lies. Slow internet. When your parents get to the point that they need help managing money, suddenly, your name is on the checking account, and you maybe have power of attorney, and mom could no more log into her credit account and wrap her head around the account activity than she could calculate a flight path to the moon. And nobody's checking up on you. And you're spending tons of valuable time on this. And you know mom would want you to have nice things if you just bothered to ask. Alcohol. Can't believe I didn't see that one in other comments. Alcohol reduces inhibitions. Some people become annoying, some sad, some whiny, which is all fine. They'll sober up and you'll be fine. However, other people become complete butts. And you probably should watch your back around these even after they've sobered up. I think seeing someone when they're frustrated in a tough situation tells a lot about them this year. Some people seem totally normal and then just turn totally crazy when things don't go their way. How people react when something goes wrong or in some sort of crisis. Do they cry or shut down? Do they get mean? Or start trying to place blame? Or instead of focusing on negative things, do they do what they can to solve the problem in the moment and make sure others are okay when they're told no or stop? Well, I had a good personal one recently. At 12:15 in the morning, while you're out in public, a man with no shirt, no shoes and no pants, he thankfully did have underwear, running up and yelling at you to help him because he just got mugged. Anything that requires patience. Let's see if I can explain this clearly enough. It's interesting to see how people react when you're undergoing some kind of loss, a career, a marriage, the death of a family member, health. In these kinds of situations, to be a good friend, you often have to continue being a support even when that individual isn't able to reciprocate in the way they normally do. Very specifically with health, I've seen many a person fall by the wayside when someone is dealing with a serious or terminal sickness. I appreciate people feeling afraid, or unsure, or unable to deal with the imminent loss of someone. But it's a sign of character in my book if you get over yourself and consider what your friend really needs, for you to be there, to listen to them, even when it feels uncomfortable, more specifically with death. Understanding that everyone grieves differently, and that they won't necessarily get over it soon. To have the patience to still be with that friend, however way they need you to. Saying no to things. Do they cave under peer pressure that they don't agree with? Watching them return a defective item at a store. Why you need to test anyone's character. Anyway, surround yourself with people you like. Chances are they will be a reflection of your own character. Board games, any type. When someone doesn't get charged for something at the store or get extra change back, it really shows something about someone if they are honest about stuff like that, even when nobody would have known the difference. When they pause to help someone in distress, even though it's an inconvenience at the moment. Ornstein and Smug. Any situation in which their actions have no consequences for Themyscira. Airports. You can always tell just a little about someone by how they handle the stress of airports. See if they return the shopping cart to the stall in the parking lot. What they do when a kid hands them a toy telephone. I don't think anyone's situation can give a whole picture of someone's character. It's easy to form an opinion on someone after one or two positive or negative impressions. But to really know the content of someone's character, you kinda have to get to know them a little more. I like to think I'm a pretty good guy. But if someone decided who I was based on my reaction to a bad day I was having, I'd feel it was pretty inaccurate. Also, if someone simply hangs up the phone on you because they don't like what you're saying, then they are an irredeemable scumbag and don't belong in society. Go for a 3-day trip alone with them. You'll know most of who they are by the time you're both back. How they treat staff at a restaurant. Lend them anything. If you have to ask to get it back, they failed, removed, losing or winning at something. Ask them to go way out of their way to help and see how they respond. Ask them to help you move. How they handle a difficult situation in which many variables are out of their control. I have a friend who grew up in the US after his parents brought him there on a tourist visa at age 7. In high school he found out, and that severely limited his ability to finance university or work, after trying to make it happen anyhow and suffering painful disappointments hoping for some kind of amnesty. 10 years ago he left for his home country and is now about to graduate an engineer and move to Europe for work. Funny thing is, Obama wrote an executive order providing work permits to those who stayed shortly after my friend left the US, which was kind of a slap in the face to him for trying to fix his situation in his own after years of waiting for change. The ability to take criticism is lost on a lot of people with poor character. As long as it's constructive, they should be able to see that you're only trying to help. By seeing how she treats someone who can't help them in any way. Rejection. Death of a loved one or serious illness of themselves or a loved one. Hard times of any kind. How they treat those who can't do anything for them or are of a lower status than them, i.e. rich people, and how they treat wait staff or housekeepers, etc. Admitting to being wrong in a dumb argument so you can stop arguing about it. Not everyone can react positively to the same thing. It's always good to keep in mind people have breaking points. I've seen a number of great people simply have a crappy day and mouth off to someone or something when they normally wouldn't. A good test of that person's character is to see if they apologize for their actions, no matter how trivial the offense. I guess a hostage situation would reveal a lot about them, I guess. The Kobayashi Maru. Travel trouble, delays, cancellations, missed flights, getting lost. True colors come out under pressure, and nothing shows personality faster than stress. When you can't control the situation. I read something by a Holocaust survivor who was saying that you will know someone really has a good heart if they share their food when you're both starving. Abraham Lincoln once said, Nearly all men can stand adversity. If you want to test a man's character, give him power. Watching how they treat people who cannot benefit them in any way socially, I decided to turn down a job offer that sounded like a nightmare after all the specifics were laid out for me. Anyway, because I was treated to lunch at a nice restaurant with my soon-to-be boss, and I watched her treat the waiter, who was totally sweet and doing a great job, like garbage. Not everyone could have turned down a job offer for something so small, and I get that. But I was in a position where I could, and I had no interest in helping her further her business if that's who she truly was.